All right, we continue with our coverage on the kicking in of the 30% tariffs on South African goods by the United States. It appears now that there is a cause for renewed tensions between the two biggest partners in the government of national unity, the ANC and the DA. The DA's Finance and Economy National Spokesperson is Dr. Mark Burke, who joins us now. Dr. Burke, good evening to you. Thanks for your time. We don't have really much time with you, but the tariffs have kicked in. What does South Africa do now to try and lessen the impact?
It's a tough situation to be in, Collie. As you say, as of midnight, any goods landing in the US, or in fact any goods removed from warehouse, will come with this 30% tariff. It will especially hit the automotive and agri-industries really hard. The DA has been sounding the alarm on everything we're doing wrong as it relates to foreign policy, our engagement with this large trading partner, and what could be done to try and salvage it. That notwithstanding, we are part of Team South Africa, and we're now at this juncture where our people working in the auto industry, up to 100,000 jobs could be at stake. People in the agri-industry are crying out for solutions. My own constituency of Oudtshoorn is the ostrich capital of the world and exports about 20% of their produce to the US at very attractive rates. Across the board, people are asking for solutions now. The DA remains committed to try and help find those solutions.
You use the phrase, Team South Africa. I wonder if that indeed is really the way that these two parties, particularly between yourself and the ANC, are implementing behind the scenes, because there appears to be this blame game between you. How do you move on, or how do you move past this blame game and start pulling together as part of Team South Africa, as you say?
It's a tricky question to try and answer, because what we can't ignore here is that the previous ambassador made himself guilty of rank incompetence in the way that he went about speaking about a sitting head of state while in that country as the ambassador for South Africa. And then the trade envoy wasn't able to obtain a visa, and all of this was concealed with subterfuge and held from South Africans, and we were accused for all sorts of things for calling it out before we got to today's situation. So it's difficult in that South Africans need to understand that at this point, not even the United States was able to get the ANCs to step away from blind policies such as BEE. So this is a problem, and there needs to be accountability, and it's our sincere hope, and we'll be working towards the reality that come the next election, the ANC will be punished for what they did there. But then the second part to answer your question is we are now in this situation. Their incompetence, their being asleep at the wheel, and sometimes their sheer arrogance has led us to here. But we still need to try and find a solution, because it's not that the ANC cadre is currently benefiting from BEE will suffer because of what's happening to South Africa in regards to our trade. It's, as I said, the auto industry. It is the agri-industry. It's people working day in and day out to provide opportunities for them and their families. And there's indications from some studies that 12 to 13 people are dependent on each auto salary in the Eastern Cape. So we have to take into account that those people now need help. And while we're upset at the ANC, and while they need to massively up their game in terms of preserving our trade with the rest of the world, then when we're in that situation, there's still work for us to be done.
Yeah.
Our agriculture minister needs to get out and needs to make sure, as he's been doing, that we're getting into new markets such as Southeast Asia, getting beef into China and so on. And wherever we're able to affect change, wherever we're able to be the adult in the room, we will do that. And we will not do that in a way that we're trying to, in those conversations, while preserving trade, come across as somebody who's petty and angry. We'll come across as the South Africans that we are, which is resilient and able to climb this mountain now in front of us.
You talk about the adult in the room, and I wonder whether South Africans should take it that the two of you, DA and the ANC, are an example, a good example of that. The reason I'm prompting this is that there is this perception that there is renewed tension in the GNU. I want for you to listen to Mzwandile Masina, who was with us a little earlier, particularly around what they say is strengthening the GNU. Have a listen to how he spoke when I prompted the DA into that conversation.
The issue of the budget was a very sensitive issue, you know, because if the budget was not passed, there were far-reaching implications. So we cannot risk as a leading party in the GNU, but this GNU is led by ourselves. So the DA will have to accept that we are resetting the button. We are bringing others who will be prepared to subscribe. What we will not accept, obviously, is conditions, because previously we were giving ridiculous conditions, which we could not accept, which is why other parties were not necessarily part of the GNU.
Your quick response to that?
One has to almost try and control your emotions as to not lash out at the level of pettiness and misdirection given the crisis that our country faces. The fact of the matter is even the people that the ANC is talking about inviting doesn't want to come to the ANC's party. The ANC keeps beating the drum of trying to somehow punish partners in this journey for trying to be responsible from time to time. But again, I don't think South Africans are looking at this situation and asking us to shout at each other and threaten each other with what we'll be doing to each other. I think they're asking, what are we doing to try and preserve trade globally? And how can we make sure that even though we need to hold the ANC accountable at the next election, we're able to still work for the benefit of South Africans? The fact of the matter is there are portfolios where the DA is able to try and affect the change that's needed. And we'll keep trying on a policy level to get the ANC to come to their senses and give us access to some of the levers that's able to change these things: economic policy, trade policy, foreign relations. And if we're able to do that, then it is worth absorbing the pain of the ridiculous idiocy that we've just heard, because we'll be able to actually focus on serving the country, which is why we got into this arrangement and why we'll keep trying to make it work. Because, as I say, the reality is South Africans are crying out for that. They're not crying out for adults to be shouting at each other.
Dr. Mark Burke, thank you very much for your time.